Lynchburg leaders gathered here today with one simple message. If you know something about Kingston's death, step up and speak out. In the wake of airports all across the country canceling flights, the Lynchburg Regional Airport is actually adding them. Currently, passenger traffic is at about 85% pre-pandemic levels. They're currently adding more flights to Charlotte and even a nonstop to Chicago. We are live in the town of Floyd tonight to bring you the latest on one of the most heated elections in the Republican primaries. More on these two Republican incumbents and their race in the 47th district coming up at 6. If you've been downtown, you've probably seen all of the construction on 12th Street. The Virginia Department of Transportation tells me it'll probably be done around the early fall. At 6, I'll break down the alternative routes and details for you. Live in Lynchburg, Naomi Popa, ABC 13 News. This race has become incredibly heated, with one of the candidates even filing charges against the other. Marie March and Ren Williams are sitting delegates forced to a face-off because of redistricting. Now they make their final pitch to voters to get your vote on Tuesday. As the summer travel season kicks into high gear and Americans get ready for those 4th of July barbecues, experts say it is not too late to find good deals on flights, but what days you're traveling are key to finding the best prices. Here's ABC's Melissa Adden with the details. Things are quiet now, but the victory party's atmosphere was electric just moments ago. Dozens of people came out to come in support and be here while the results came in. We're honoring the sacrifice and life of a fallen hero. Loved ones, fellow officers, and the community will say goodbye to Wintergreen police officer Chris Wagner. He was shot and killed last Friday night responding to a call. And today, dozens will reflect on his life and sacrifice during his memorial services. His visitation is 10 to noon at the Augusta Expo Event Center in Fisherville. The funeral service starts at noon at the same place. A burial will follow the service at Augusta Memorial Park in Waynesboro. All of the services are open to the public, and ABC 13 will also have a crew at the funeral to share how Wagner's loved ones and friends are honoring him and carrying on his legacy. Operation Blitz targeted violent offenders linked to gun crimes in Danville. These are the faces of the adults arrested. Their charges ranging from probation violations to distribution of controlled substances.
This operation is an example of the department's focused deterrent model on reducing violent crime through proactive and predicting policing.
The Violent Crime Gang Unit, Vice Narcotics Unit, and others all contributed to the operation, relying on surveillance, search warrants, and more to make these arrests.
It makes us feel good, but it also makes us feel good that this was a successful operation. During Operation Blitz, there was no firearm-related aggravated assaults. So that was a success.
Police say they seized these 11 firearms. 2 of them were reported stolen, and police confirmed that several were used in recent gun violence incidents.
The arrests, some of them were affiliated with our local gangs. There were narcotics seized. Narcotics was a byproduct of this operation.
Police seized more than 200 grams of cocaine, 200 grams of meth, 4 pounds of marijuana, and 70 grams of fentanyl. They say this couldn't have been done without the help from the public.
We did see the community members providing information and providing intelligence. The men and women worked long hours to have these results and the reduction of violent crime.
Kingston was shot and killed in his home in early May. Almost 2 months later, there are still no arrests or suspects in the case. Lynchburg Police Chief Ryan Zudema says the department is doing everything they can, but the community is a huge part of the puzzle.
I am tired of hearing all the excuses of why people don't come forward. The excuses have got to stop, and we've got to get people to step up, stand up, and do the right thing.
Kingston's family is also fighting for answers and accountability. His aunt, Raven Loving, has this message.
It's easy to give out information, and if this was your son, nephew, or child or anything, you should want, justice for something like this.
One Community, One Voice has set up a reward fund for anyone that can give information about Kingston's death that will lead to an arrest. It's already raised $3,000. Head to our website, WSCT.com, to find out how you can donate today. Live in Lynchburg, Naomi Popa, ABC 13 News. But the results were never really close. From the moment polls closed, Williams had a 50-point lead over March. That did shrink to a final difference of about 33 points, with Williams having over 6,500 votes compared to March at 3,200. Williams tells me that the emotions are high after his victory.
I'm excited. I am blessed. I'm humbled by the support of the new district. It's a new district. I had to introduce myself to a number of new constituents, and I appreciate their trust, instilling that trust in me to know that I can do things, get things done.
When I asked Williams about his opponent, Marie March, he said he thanks her for her time in the House of Delegates and her service to the Commonwealth. Now he'll focus on to the general election, hoping to hold the House majority and flip the Senate, saying that holding all three branches will set the Commonwealth straight. Williams adds that their agenda will focus on kitchen table issues like inflation, tax breaks, tax refunds, and just getting Virginians up and working. But first, he will have to make it past the general election in November, where he is set to square off against Democratic challenger Patty Queensberry. In Stewart, Naomi Popa, ABC 13 News. Over in Amherst County, a woman is behind bars after deputies say she shot a man multiple times, and tomorrow she's due in court. That man is now in critical condition. It happened along Boxwood Farm Road on Sunday afternoon. When the Amherst County Sheriff's Office got there, they found a 67-year-old man with gunshot wounds, and crews flew him to UVA Medical Center. Deputies arrested 63-year-old Cynthia Hart. She is charged with malicious wounding and use of firearm in commission of a felony. She's being held at the Amherst County Adult Detention Center.
News coverage you can count on. This is Good Morning Virginia.
Good morning, I'm Naomi Popa. Thanks for joining us. We're honoring the sacrifice and life of a fallen hero. Loved ones, fellow officers, and the community will say goodbye to Wintergreen Police Officer Chris Wagner. He was shot and killed last Friday night responding to a call. And today, dozens will reflect on his life and sacrifice during his memorial services. His visitation is 10 to noon at the Augusta Expo Event Center in Fisherville. The funeral service starts at noon at the same place. A burial will follow the service at Augusta Memorial Park in Waynesboro. All of the services are open to the public, and ABC 13 will also have a crew at the funeral to share how Wagner's loved ones and friends are honoring him and carrying on his legacy. Governor Glenn Youngkin is also reflecting on Officer Wagner's sacrifice. Youngkin has ordered that all U.S. and Virginia state flags be flown at half-staff in memory and respect of Wagner. It starts at sunrise today, and the flags will stay at half-staff until sunset. And Governor Youngkin will also share remarks at Officer Wagner's funeral today. The chief of Wintergreen Police is also speaking out for the first time since the tragedy, along with Wagner's father, both talking during the service. Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, the Deputy Attorney General, and the Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security will also be at the service. And 23-year-old Daniel Barmack is facing several felony charges in the death of Officer Wagner. According to state police, Barmack is charged with capital murder, use of firearm in commission of a felony, and 2 felony counts of malicious wounding. Police say he's used Wagner's gun to shoot and kill him. He's currently being held at the Albemarle-Charlottesville Regional Jail. Turning now to continuing coverage, a juvenile is in custody after an attempted robbery in Franklin County. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office says it happened just before 6 yesterday at Raven's Country Store in Rocky Mount. Deputies say the suspect ran off with money. Deputies caught the suspect, but they aren't releasing any details at this time because they are a juvenile. The Sheriff's Office says this seems to be an isolated incident and there is no danger to the public. 1 person is dead and 2 people are injured after 2 shootings in Roanoke. Roanoke police say they were on patrol around 1 a.m. Saturday morning when they heard gunshots. Police then arrived on scene near 15th Street and Orange Avenue, where they found an adult male laying in the road that had been shot. Crews took the man to Carilion Hospital, where he later died. The second shooting happened around 2 a.m. on the 1400 block of Hirschberger Road. Officers didn't find any victims on scene, but were later told that a man and a teen drove themselves to Carilion Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Continuing coverage this morning, the U.S. Coast Guard has launched a Marine Board investigation into the Titan submersible disaster. And MBI is the Coast Guard's highest level probe. The investigation remains focused on evidence collection at the disaster site around the sunken Titanic. Interviews are being conducted at St. John's Bay. Aspects of the probe will be available to the public. The board will work to determine the cause of the disaster, then turn to accountability aspects.
Can make recommendations to the proper authorities to pursue civil, or criminal sanctions.
The MBI will issue a full report once evidence has been collected, facts established, and conclusions and recommendations are complete to prevent any future disasters. The search for the doomed submersible Titan sparked an international days-long response, which raises the question, who foots the bill for search and rescue attempts? The U.S. Coast Guard has declined to say how much the effort in the North Atlantic cost, noting it was a life-saving effort. It was likely billions of dollars. Some are now questioning whether wealthy travelers or companies should be responsible for costs associated with high-risk thrill adventures. The Coast Guard says it will not send a bill.
The Coast Guard doesn't charge for search and rescue, nor do we associate a cost with human life.
The Coast Guard is generally prohibited by law from collecting reimbursement for search or rescue services. This as recovery efforts of the Titan continue. As the summer travel season kicks into high gear and Americans get ready for those 4th of July barbecues, experts say it is not too late to find good deals on flights, but what days you're traveling are key to finding the best prices. Here's ABC's Melissa Adden with the details.
With 4th of July falling on a Tuesday this year, many travelers are stretching the holiday.
Coming up, a Russia revolt, how the president of Russia is having his power challenged in a major way. This as his war in Ukraine could be turning his own military against him. Plus, on the campaign trail, what former President Trump has to say about his legal woes while at an election event.